What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Always happy to see you guys here, and welcome to my review of the original I Know What You Did Last Summer from 1997. With the 4th of July upon us, happy 4th of July by the way, and with the new film that's getting ready to open up just around the corner in a couple of weeks, I thought I'd take this opportunity to do a film review series of every single one of these leading up to that new film, leading up to a ranking, so watch out for that. And as far as my absence goes, I do deeply apologize. I was dealing with some hardcore technical difficulties. I was dealing with the slowest laptop known to man, but now I got a new one, and it's a faster and it's a better one. I was able to test it out a little bit just the other day, and let's just say I think we're good now, which is one of the reasons why I wasn't able to finish the Mission Impossible film review series. I was lucky I was able to get the Final Destination film review series out when I did. But anyway, point being, I will continue on with those. Maybe whatever the physical media of The Final Reckoning comes out, like whenever it gets close to that date, I will finish up with those now that I got everything else set and straight. So let's talk about I Know What You Did Last Summer from 1997. God, I was 10 years old then. Time, where you going? So I Know What You Did Last Summer follows a group of teenagers who covers up this horrible accident, and then a year later they are stalked by a hook-wielding killer who knows their secret. This was something I got into in the early 2000s. I was still fresh in the horror game. Only the first 3 Screams had came out. I think we're talking in the year 2000, 2001. Don't quote me on that. You know how the memory works. And this was also something that was written by Kevin Williamson, who I also knew about at this point because he did a majority of the Scream films, which is what started me in the horror genre, which was Scream. So needless to say, as young as I was, even hearing that name, even back then, got me excited for this. Starting off with the positives of I Know What You Did Last Summer, I thought the story was very smartly written, as what Kevin Williamson usually does. It's nothing I expected less. I like how they treated this as almost like a murder mystery type, to where these group of kids, they cover up this incident after they incidentally hit somebody, and they think that they killed somebody. And then a year later, they start getting these death threats and these letters telling them that someone knows what they did last summer. And then they start searching for all these clues on who it might be. And then there's this whole thing with Anne Heche's character that Jennifer Love Hewitt and Sarah Michelle Gellar visits, to where there's that whole side plot about her and just this whole mystery about it. I actually did appreciate that. I like how they kind of went in this direction to where it is a slasher by every means necessary, but this is one of those slashers that really delves more into the story than anything else. And it's really one of those that makes you think and who this guy is. And it turns you into like one direction to where, oh, well, it could be this, when it's actually that. Whenever you get more into the, like maybe the second or third act, it's not who it was at all. It's not what you were expecting at all. And it's like one of those twist endings, except of like the traditional twist ending. It's like one of those twist endings that's picked out and sprinkled throughout this whole entire film. And it just makes it more interesting in just the sense of the story and just how it hooks you, you know, no pun intended, and just that whole mystery about it where it just really grabs you. It just really, again, no pun intended, hooks you in. And I really did appreciate that, especially the whole thing with the Anne Heche character, to where there's this whole side plot going on with her that really throws you off. And it's something that shows up a little bit, just a little tiny bit in the first act before anything else happens. It throws you off at every single point, and I really did enjoy that. I really did like that. It just throws you in a loop constantly, and I thought that was just awesome. I thought that was just a really great way to write a story, and again, props to Kevin Williamson. It just proves how good of a storyteller he really is, which really makes me excited for Scream 7, seeing as how he's the director of the upcoming Scream sequel. And you got some great characters here. Jennifer Love Hewitt, our main protagonist, who, to me, is the ultimate Scream queen of them all. I love you, Jamie Lee Curtis, and don't mob me all at once for all you Jamie Lee Curtis fans, but I think Jennifer Love Hewitt kind of takes the cake on that. If I was to judge Scream Queens, Jennifer Love Hewitt would be at the top of my list. She's got a set of lungs on her, especially by the third act of this, when she's trying to get away from the killer. She got a set of lungs on her. I've never really thought that way of Jamie Lee Curtis. I'm sorry, it's just, it is what it is with me. I've just never seen that with Jamie Lee Curtis. As much as I enjoyed her, Jennifer Love Hewitt takes the cake here. And again, I think she's the ultimate scream queen, especially for this film. You got Sarah Michelle Gellar, who plays the friend to Jennifer Love Hewitt, who could easily be the diva, entitled Princess Brat, but at the same time, she can also be the scared, innocent character that you want to root for. And I thought she pulled that off pretty well. At the time, she was doing Buffy, so she was very, very well known. And I thought she pulled it off pretty well. And you get Ryan Phillippe, who plays kind of the asshole-ish trust fund character that you'd love to hate, but at the same time, he does it so well that you like him, even though he is an asshole.
I know what you did last summer. Ooh, what a crock of shit.
I thought he pulled that off pretty well. You get Freddie Prinze Jr. here, who I think Hollywood kind of wasted. He did both these I Know What You Did Last Summer and its sequel and the Scooby-Doo films, but that was like back in the late 90s and early 2000s. Hadn't really done much since then. He's going to be in this new film, but he hadn't really done much except for voice work. And I think that's kind of a waste. Not that I'm saying voice work is wasted on actors, but I think he's a really good actor, like in presence. Here, he does a really good job. There's this whole red herring thing that they did with his character, which is why he doesn't really show up that much, which is another one of those loop arounds that they try to throw you in to where who is the killer? Could it be Freddie Prinze Jr.'s character, to where like he just gets revenge on what happened and it just traumatizes him to an extent? I like how they throw you in a loop in that as well. I like how this is set around the 4th of July. Yeah, we have Halloween horror-themed movies, and we have Christmas horror-themed movies, and also Valentine's Day horror-themed movies, but not enough 4th of July horror-themed movies, and this is the only one I know of that actually exists within that realm, and I really did appreciate that. You know, like I said, we need more, different time of the season themed films, so I enjoyed the whole 4th of July aesthetic. Again, and I don't mean to repeat myself and going back to what I've already mentioned, but as much as a gorehound as I am, I really did enjoy and appreciate the story that was being told here. Again, it's one of those murder mysteries that really doesn't seem to let up, and because of so many loopholes that gets thrown at you, it's enough to get your attention at ease, get you focused and interested. Unless it has a lot of blood and gore in most other horror movies, it doesn't really do that. Like with most other horror movies, if it doesn't have enough gore and blood, it's boring. But this one, it made it interesting enough to where you don't really pay attention to that. I will get into some of the negativity here in a little bit, in a minute, but I did appreciate what the story was doing because of what it was doing. Because of how much it got my interest and how much it really enticed me. I really didn't mind it. I really did enjoy the story element to it. This is a pretty bloodless movie, but because of how the story was being told, I really didn't mind it at all. Moving on to my next. I never really found the killer in this that intimidating. Now, there were certain moments in this film to where the killer had his intimidating moments. Like whenever he snuck into Michelle Gellar's house and cut her hair, and then she woke up the next morning and saw that word smeared on the mirror. I thought that was pretty intense. And just the certain things that he does leading up to the final climax, I thought was pretty cool and was pretty good, was pretty intimidating. But as far as the look of the killer, I've never really thought of him as like the horror icon, like what we got with Scream, especially if you're dealing with red herring characters. I never really thought of the fisherman and I Know What You Did Last Summer that well regarded to become the next slasher. Even though we got a second film, that's all it really got to past the second film, and then after that it was just a dead zone. So I never really thought that much of the fisherman from this film to become the next icon like with Scream. With the fisherman, it was just very tame. But again, the things leading up to the main goal of this killer, I thought was pretty cool. But as far as the look goes and just the quality of this character as opposed to what he does, I just didn't really think was much there. Now, moving on to my negatives. Speaking of, and we're still on the killer train, there were certain moments in this film that kind of got you to scratch your head a lot. Where he kills somebody and he is so fast in covering his tracks that no policeman on planet Earth was ever able to actually track any evidence. And there was one scene to where it involved a body with crabs, literal crabs, crawling all over him in a trunk of a car. And the character, Julie James, Jennifer Love Hewitt, runs away, and then she comes back, like, 5 minutes later, and is completely cleaned, completely cleared out. Sorry, I never bought that. Never once. So yeah, it's just little things like that. It just kind of, and I know you're supposed to suspend your belief when you're dealing with movies like this, but when it's on that level, come on. No, I couldn't. I never could, never will. And going back to the bloodless style of this film, yes, as much as the story entertained me, and I know I really shouldn't mention this at all because of how strongly I feel about the story, but I am a gorehound. It is what it is. I enjoy a good stabby stab and a good decapitation every now and then. And this film didn't really hardly give me that. The most we got was Leonard from Big Bang Theory, Johnny Galecki, who got the hook in the neck, and the cop that was getting literally gutted. Those were the only two, and even then, they kind of came off as like a sort of PG-13, and it probably would have been rated PG-13 if it wasn't for all the language. That's the only reason why this is rated R. But as far as the blood goes and the gore, there was bupkis. There was nothing here, and there's no creativity, nothing to get your bloodlust going, per se. So that's always been a little bit of a disappointing factor, but again, it is what it is. Bottom line, was this ever my favorite horror film of all time? No, not really. It's never really been one of those classics. It's never really been one of those that I've watched, popped in too much. But I enjoyed it for what it was. A murder mystery with a bunch of loops, thrills, and chills. You should just give it a chance. So, I Know What You Did Last Summer, the original from 1997. What was your thoughts on this? Were you a fan of this? Is this your favorite one? Did you enjoy the type of story that this brought out? Or is this not your favorite? Is the later one your favorite? Let me your comment down below and give me your thoughts. Thank you so much, guys, for watching and clicking here. I really appreciate it. Like, subscribe, comment, and share. Make sure to click that bell icon so you don't miss a thing if you like what you see. And I will see you on the next one. Peace.